Hi everyone, welcome back to If My Heart Had Wings, episode 9, where Kotori just found out that Aoi was in the garage all along with her while they were looking at this exquisite aircraft, or glider. So in episode 8, Kotori manages to go to school, and she said that she's doing it under her own will and not because of Aoi or Ageha. And even though Kotori does well in class, she can't get along with anyone else. And when it came to lunch, Aoi tried to chase her down, but Kotori manages to lose him by going inside the elevator. So Aoi went to the school gates to try to block her from leaving school, because that's what he thinks that Kotori's about to do. But then he runs into Amane, who's carrying all these metal parts. And once again, Aoi knows that Amane forgot to eat, so he helps her bring the items over to the garage, and that's where he saw Kotori looking at this scaffold. And when Amane unveiled the scaffold, it turns out to be the glider that Aoi and Kotori saw in episode 1. So let's see what happens next, and what Amane is going to say about this glider. But first, let's see how Kotori is going to react to Aoi being in the same place as her. So we started talking to each other at some point, but then finally realized who it was we were talking to. Hey you! Why were you running away just now? So Kotori once again tries to escape from Aoi and ignores him. But now she can't get away from Aoi. So he stops her wheelchair, and now Kotori is trapped. So why did you come here for? Well, you're not here to eat lunch, are you? So Kotori did see that Aoi was at the gate before she could make it. So she did try to escape from school. But it's like, well, I was there, so I'm just going to find a place to hide until he gives up and goes back to class. So she really was trying to leave early. And while Kotori and Aoi are arguing, Amane notices something and chimes in. So Amane was listening carefully to our conversations. Okay, so it's now lunch, and Aoi gives Amane something to eat once more. So Amane was wolfing down Neapolitan pasta, lunchbox, and Kotori and I both had a face that seemed to say, "Whoa," and looked in amazement. So why would she say, "Whoa"? Or why did we say that? Okay. Oh. Well, she didn't know that when she was eating ice cream like a crazy idiot, I had the same reaction when I was watching her. So this was in episode 6, when Aoi was secretly watching Kotori as she came out from the convenience store, and she had this really big bucket of Haagen Dazs ice cream, and was eating it down like a construction machine. And then obviously she tried to have Hat protect her from Aoi, and that failed. Well, by the way, the thing that Amane was eating was the lunchbox that I had brought. So as usual, the boarders hadn't eaten the breakfast I had made for them, so I packed it as my lunch. Well, then again, I kind of find that kind of strange. So, even though it's good not to waste food, but if the boarders have rejected it, that means there's something wrong with it. And you're trying to pack it up to give it to someone else. So I had made 2 lunch boxes. One was for me. And as for the other one, I thought that if Kotori was going to go to school, she might have found it difficult at lunchtime, so I was worried about her and brought another lunchbox. But then again, Kotori's one of the boarders, and if she rejected the breakfast, the Neapolitan pasta, along with the other boarders, I'm pretty sure Kotori won't enjoy this lunch. And forcing it down Kotori's throat isn't gonna help either. So that's why I was chasing her. So maybe the lunch was bad and Kotori didn't want it. So if she didn't need it, I thought that I might eat them both myself. But she ran away before I could ask her.
でもいいのか？君のお弁当全部食べてしまって。
Well, I don't think Aoi minds. Asked Amane as although she'd already eaten most of it before asking. Well, you know, I've already eaten my portion. I was hungry during morning recess, so I had lunch early. Well, then again, I was from a sports school, and in sports you get trained physically well, so your metabolism is pretty high and you get hungry easily. Well, relieved to hear my answer, Amane continues to enjoy the cold Neapolitan pasta.
おいしいな。ちゃんとしたご飯を食べるのは久しぶりだ。
Okay. Well, didn't you have anything to eat after I saw you yesterday? I only gave her one piece of bread. Amaya stopped moving her chopsticks and took a good look at my face.
もしかして君は昨日パンをくれた人か？
And I wonder why Amaya realized it now that Aoi was the person who gave her bread yesterday. There you go. See, only just realized?
いや、昨日は集中していたからな。
Well, then again, Amaya was busy with her drawing. She was concentrating hard on it. She really is weird.
そうか、君は2度も私を救ってくれたのか。
Well, then again, why does Amane have a good diet schedule? So she always forgets to eat, and this is the second time that Aoi has to help her with her nutrition. She looked at me with eyes that sparkle like a little kid's. Well, if she were a dog, her tail would be definitely wagging like crazy.
君からパンをもらったのが約20時間前で、それ以前に遡るなら、最後に食事をとったのはおよそ70時間前になる。
And for some reason, Amane has the capability, the enough energy to calculate when it was the last time that she ate. I count them on my fingers. So if there are 24 hours in a day, then... So that's 3 days ago.
太陽圏の豚骨ラーメン全部のせを食べた。スープが濃厚で美味しかった。
She recalls this and her face looks like she's about to start drooling. Well, then again, if Maya really wanted to eat that, then she could always go over to the restaurant and eat it herself. But the problem is that she gets carried away with her work so much that she forgets. And... well, sometimes you don't want to be pushing too much on doing work like that, because at some point you can get tired, and there's no way you're going to be able to make any more progress once you reach that stage. You burn out, you need rest, you need something to help you think. So why don't you eat? Are you on a diet? I forgot. So why would you forget to eat? That's a very, very interesting response. Huh? So even I always confused about Amane's reply.
考え事をしていると他のことをよく忘れるんだ。私はバカだからな。
Okay. Amane replied with pride. Well, I prefer if she didn't compare it to when people forget things because they're hungry.
ここでグライダーを作っているんですか?
Okay, so putting all that lunch diet aside, Kotori brings up the next question. It's about the glider. So are you building this glider? So are you doing that here?
ソアリング部の部室兼ガレージだが。
Okay. So Soaring Club. I wasn't familiar with that name. So what's soaring?
上昇気流に乗ってグライダーで飛ぶことをソアリングと言うんだ。
While flying a glider by riding the rising air currents, I kind of get it, but on the other hand, I don't. So the aim of the club is to make and fly glider?
そういうことになるな。
Oh, so this garage is used for club activities after all. So I always thought that this garage was abandoned because there's nobody in here, and it looks pretty quiet. Until you found Amane working on the drawing board. Well, even so, it's pretty spacious.
グライダーって飛行機みたいなものなんでしょ? 自分で作れるものなの?
Well, you can make it yourself, but then to make it be able to fly, you probably have to go through some certifications first. And because usually the government authority wants to make sure that this machine is safe, it meets all the requirements, and once it passes requirements, it gets a license or some kind of registration on the tail of the airplane.
作れるさ。それが人工物である以上、人に作れないものはないはずだが。
I'm pretty sure for a custom-made airplane like this glider, there's gonna be lots of paperwork to show that this thing meets all design specs for safety. Well, I have a feeling that's not what she's asking. However, Amane answered the question in all seriousness. Oh, okay, so Kotori's asking, so how do you build this glider? How do you make it fly? Okay. So Amane can't explain it in words. It's like, well, why don't we make some kind of demonstration? And you can see it visually yourself. Wait, hold on a moment. I said as Amane slurped up the last of the Neapolitan pasta with an extremely bad manner. While wiping around her mouth with a tissue, she started rummaging through a desk drawer. So peeking inside the drawer, somehow I get the impression that Amane is a typical disorganized person. I'm pretty sure Amane is way too busy with that drawing and the design that she doesn't have time to go organize the drawers, the shelves, and that's why it kind of appears that it's abandoned or unused at first glance. Rather than things being put away, it was more like they were stuffed in or crammed in. But she finds it, which is a good thing. The thing that Amane had taken out was a paper airplane construction kit made using cardboard. Ooh, heavy duty. Okay, so try making one. Without thinking, Kotori and I looked at each other. What? So is it because Kotori and Aoi don't know what to do with this kit? I feel that manufacturing a glider and making a paper airplane are completely different things. So I was kind of wondering, so how does this paper airplane, or what does this have to do with building the glider? How is this related to the glider? Why am I doing this if I'm trying to learn about how to build a glider? But for now, I'll try doing as she says. So well, I'm just going to make it first and then question later. So using glue and a craft knife, in about 10 minutes, we had finished the paper airplane. Okay. All done. So Maya takes the plane that Kotori had made and takes a good look. And then she threw it. So the paper airplane floated gently as it flew and landed near the wall on the other side of the garage. So Kotori seems embarrassed at being complimented. So there are many types of airplanes. You have jumbo jets, like 747s, A380s, small Cessnas, like those private airplanes that can fit 4 people, and fighter jets. And like the paper airplane, like the one you just threw. But all of them fly based on the same principle. So paper airplanes and jumbo jets are the same?
ああ、原理は同じ。翼を使って空気に浮かび飛行する。
Well, how they fly is based on a similar principle. Kotori and I both tilted our heads in puzzlement. We both had a skeptical look on our faces. Well, I can understand that a light paper airplane can fly by riding the wind, but it's hard to imagine that a giant hunk of metal can float in the sky on the same principle. Well, it is kind of hard to imagine, but there is one difference between the airplane, like a 747, and a paper airplane, and it's that the 747, you see that there's 4 big engines that push the airplane. So I always think that there must be some other method that allows it to fly. Amane goes to pick up the paper airplane that she had just thrown.
これをよく見てほしい。君たちが知っている飛行機とこの紙飛行機、違いはどこにある？
Okay, so mine's like let's start from the beginning. So what's the difference between this and a big airplane like a 747? Size, material,
人が乗るかどうかも違うわ。
and the fact that does it carry passengers?
そうだな。あとはエンジンがあるかないかくらいか。
And obviously the engines.
逆に言えばその他は同じだ。そこに飛行の原理がある。
And even though they're so different, they fly on the same principle.
一般的な飛行機はだいたいこれと同じパーツからできている。
So same parts as this. Well, I'm not really sure if So obviously a huge airliner is not made of paper, but I'm thinking she's talking about the sandwich structure that is in this paper airplane, because we know that it's cardboard, and in a cardboard you have the corrugated structure in the middle, followed by 2 smooth layers of paper, and that's what makes it thick, but also makes it much more sturdy. And in most airplanes, that's how they build the structure, because that helps keep the weight down. It makes it light. So you have like 2 different layers, so inner and outer layer, and they have like a corrugated structure, or some kind of structure that holds the 2 layers together. And it's also made of metal, but you can still do that.
まずは胴体。
So mine is talking about the big pieces that make up an airplane. So the first part is the body. That's the little slender line in the middle.
次に主翼。
The wings, the main wings.
水平尾翼。
And the stabilizers. So the horizontal stabilizer. It's also called the tailplane.
垂直尾翼。
And the vertical stabilizer. Well, actually it's called the fin.
多少突飛な形状をした飛行機でもだいたい同じパーツか、あるいは同じ役割をする別のパーツによって構成されている。
So there's obviously airplanes like fighter jets, where it's basically like a one-piece aircraft. So you have the body that does everything. So the body also does the wing. It functions at the wing. Also has fins in the back, or little ailerons and flaps that kind of act like the stabilizer. And Boeing tried to build something like that for a passenger jet called the blended wing concept. So I don't really know what happened. It's been about 7 or 8 years since I've heard about the blended wing concept. So the idea that you have this really big theater-style scene in the middle, but you have this one big one-piece aircraft for passengers. But obviously, it also means that there's even fewer passengers that will have a window seat. But these aircraft are really hard to make because each part has to be contoured, has to be shaped in a special way, and shaping the metal or the aircraft material is going to cost a lot of money. Whereas it's easier to have like a body wing stabilizer design because then just shape the body, shape the wings separately, shape the stabilizers, and then you actually put them all together at the very end. It's actually cheaper to do it that way. But there's one advantage of having a one-piece jet, which is that it generates less of a radar footprint. So when an enemy tries to find you, the footprint's going to be really or much harder to detect. It's much smaller, and that's why fighter jets use it. So when she puts it like that, I guess she's right. I've never paid that much attention to it though.
ところで、飛行機がなぜ空気に行くのか知っているかい？揚力があるからよ。
So airplane floats in the air because it has lift.
そうだ。揚力とは流体の中にある翼に働く力のうち、流れの方向に対して垂直な成分のことを言う。
Vertical component in accordance with the direction of the flow. Well, I look baffled again, and Amane smiles little and rephrases it.
つまり、空気が翼を浮き上がらせようとする力のことだ。
That's true. So like its lift is what gets the airplane into the air.
揚力はここ。主翼によって生み出される。
And lift is created here on the main wings.
翼に前から風が当たると、空気は翼の上と下に分かれて流れていくことになる。
Okay, so that's true. So like the wing or the shape of the wing actually divides the air. So you have air that's going over the wing and air that goes under the wing. So I can just imagine the wings cutting the air like a blade. Yeah, that's a good way to visualize it.
この時、翼の上側と下側で気流の速度に差が生じると、流れの速い側の圧力が下がるんだ。
Okay. So on the other side of the wing, there's less. So the flow is slower, and that's why there's more pressure.
ベルヌイの定理ね。
And that's also known as the Bernoulli principle. Amane nods. So staying beside her, I am a little freaked out as she so easily comes out with a word like Bernoulli. So what's that?
授業で習ったでしょ?
But then again, it's only his like second or third day in class, and this type of topic you don't learn in standard classes. So obviously, Aoi isn't gonna know about the Bernoulli's principle. There you go. So his school is more of a sports school, so obviously he's gonna learn more lessons that are related to being competitive in sports. And topics like Bernoulli's principle has nothing to do with sports. Or maybe he did, it was covered briefly in class and he didn't go there.
だから飛行機の翼は上面の空気が速く流れるよう設計されている。上面側の圧力を下げるためだ。
So, by applying that principle to the wings, air flows faster on top of the wing, and there's less pressure, versus air flows slower under the wing because and that means there's more pressure under the wing.
そうすることで相対的に仮面の圧力が高まり、空気が翼を持ち上げようとするんだ。
So that's true, but I'm pretty sure that's not the main reason why airplanes generate lift, or that's what causes the airplane to be able to lift off the ground. So air lifts the wings up? Well, it's a phenomenon that's hard to suddenly imagine. So that must be Bernoulli's principle, right? So Maya nods and says yes.
それともう一つ、翼の上面を流れた空気は翼面によって下へ曲げられ、後方に吹き下ろしを生じさせる。
Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is what the main factor that generates lift. So as air flows over or under the wing, it gets bent downwards by the shape of the wing, and that causes a downward force on the wing. So if you look at the wings of an airplane, like a 747, you can see that the wings, they are slanted upwards towards the front. So as the airplane takes off, the wind that comes at the airplane is going to be turned downwards. So as she explains, Amane is drawn across the section of a wing. So according to that, an airplane's wings are flat at the bottom, and the top is shaped like a mountain, so it seems like a semicircular. Well, apparently the air on the upper surface flows along the raised curved surface, and then it bends to flow downwards. And as for the question of why the air flows along the raised surface, it can only be said that this is because of the nature of air. Well, that's true. Air flows along the surface of the wings. Or so it would seem.
この吹き下ろしはニュートンの第三法則によって同じだけの反作用を翼に与え、上方に持ち上げようとする。
So if you remember Newton's third law, it's like for every force generated, there's an equal. So for every force, there's an equal but opposite reaction force. So applying that to the airplane or the wings, so as flow gets turned downwards, it generates a force, or it generates a force to turn the airflow downwards. But then, because of Newton's third law, a reaction force is generated that's equal but opposite, and that pushes against the wings. And the reaction force is what lifts up the wing.
重たいバスケットボールを地面に叩きつけようとしたら、体がふわっと浮く感じがするでしょ?
I'm not really sure if basketball is a really good analogy, because there's some other principles of physics that apply to the basketball as it bounces up, like maybe momentum or but then again, if it hits the ground gives a reaction force against the basketball, which causes the basketball to go back up.
それと同じことよ。
So does that mean that when the wing drops in the air, the reaction causes it to float?
それら揚力が機体の重量を上回ったとき、飛行機は空を飛ぶことができる。たとえそれが 総重量数百トンに及ぶジャンボ旅客機だよね。
That's true. So theoretically, that may be so, but I'm still couldn't imagine how enough lift to cost a several hundred-ton airplane to take off could be created. However, airplanes do fly in the sky, though.
揚力を生み出してくれるこの主翼は飛行機が空に浮かぶために必要なパーツというわけだ。
I don't know if I understood or not. However, I understand that the main wings are the most important part of an airplane.
次に尾翼だが、垂直と水平と2つある。
Okay, so I'll go ahead and stop here. I think this is enough. So I'm gonna leave the stabilizers to the next episode. So in a 747, obviously it's a really big and heavy airplane, and when it was first introduced in the 60s, people thought it wasn't going to fly. But if you know that in a 747 you have a really large surface area for wings, more than 5,000 square foot, like maybe 5,600 square foot, and more importantly has 4 engines that push the airplane on the runway. And it's the engines that help generate enough lift, because what happens is that when your airplane goes really fast down the runway, all this air comes at you, and that in turn is kind of like wind or air currents right at the airplane. So there's lots of air plus a really big wing area, and lift is dependent on the speed of the airflow. And usually in a 747 it takes off when the airplane is going about 180-200 miles an hour. And at that speed, there's lots of wind coming at the airplane, so that's going to help generate enough lift to get the airplane off the ground. And for an A380, an even heavier aircraft that weighs over 1 million pounds, the surface area is much larger. The wing surface area is almost like 9,000 square foot, and has more powerful engines. So each engine pushes the A380 at 70,000 pounds at takeoff. So if you were to put your hand on a bathroom scale and that's glued to the wall, you're gonna get like maybe 5 pounds or maybe 2 or 3 pounds. But if you take an A380 engine and you point it at the bathroom scale, well, if the bathroom scale keeps itself together, it should read 70,000 pounds when you put the engine at takeoff power. So I'll leave it at that. I think that's enough for me to say. I'm not a credible person to be talking about this, because I'm not an aerodynamics professor. But if you really have interest, you can always go talk to an aerodynamics professor that you can find, and he'll explain to you more about the principles of flight. So with that in mind, I'll see you in the next episode.